super exciting video for you today. I am going to show you how to take this shirt and turn it into these ears. So let's jump right into it. Alright, so for this project you're going to need ear patterns, a headband, a marker, scissors, the t-shirt, a glue gun, glue sticks, batting, and cardboard. So you're going to start with the cardboard. You're going to take the smallest ear pattern. I think it's the ear sewing pattern. And that's what you're going to use to trace your cardboard. You'll need 4 of those. So once you get those all traced, you will go ahead and get them all cut out. And you can use any kind of cardboard. I do a lot of swaps, so I just use some boxes that I have that aren't in like the greatest of shape for my boxes to cut out. So once you get those cut out, you'll have 4 of them. Then you go to your shirt and you will trace the ear cutting line pattern, which is going to be bigger, onto your shirt. You want to kind of make sure that you're going to have enough room to cut all 4 out without messing up the faces or anything. So once you get all 4, that's what they're going to look like. Then you're going to go ahead and start cutting them out. I will say that the scissors that I had were not the greatest scissors to cut that fabric. So it took a hot minute to get all 4 of my patterns cut out, but they were perfect, just like I was hoping for, in order to get all 4 on there and get all 4 of the heads cut out of the shirt. And it honestly could not have worked any more perfectly. So now you have all 4 of your little pictures. Now you're going to go back to the ear sewing pattern, which is the smaller one that you used on the cardboard. And you can either choose to do this way, or what I usually do is I actually usually stuff my ears with almost like pillow fluff. However, when I went to the store to buy some, they didn't have any, and I needed to make some ears. So I ended up with this batting that they use for quilting, and it works okay. They're not as fluffy as I usually like my ears, but they don't look horrible. They turn out okay. And if you don't like super fluffy ears, this is actually absolutely perfect for that. I put all 4 layers together and just did one cut. That way I didn't have to sit there and cut 4 individual pieces out. It made it a little bit easier for my scissors to go through, and they don't have to be perfect. You can kind of shape them as you put them on. So once you get those 4 cut out, then it is time to start your hot gluing. So you're going to take 1 piece of cardboard, 1 of the batting, and 1 of your fabric pieces. Lay your fabric piece down, and this is where I kind of trim the batting a little bit so it fits better in there. And then you'll put your piece of cardboard on top, and you just simply kind of glue around the edge. And as you're gluing, I go like about halfway, and then you kind of fold the sides up into the hot glue. You don't want to do the bottom, you just want to go around the sides. Although I could have done the bottom. The bottom is mainly for if you're using like the pillow fluff to stuff it, you'll leave that open, and that's how you'll stuff the ears in the end. But since I used the batting, I could have just went through and glued the bottom as well. You do want to be careful because you won't have a huge excess of space on the side. So here's where I went back through and I glued the bottom shut. Again, I could have just simply done that when I glue the rest of it, but so now you have all 4 of your earpieces, and you're going to set those off to the side. And now comes my least favorite part, and that is putting fabric on the headband. So I used the bottom of the front of the shirt, and I just cut a strip off of the bottom, again, with the world's worst scissors. So I got that all cut off, and you're just going to kind of, I don't even know how to explain this. You're just going to kind of cut it down a little bit. I peel off the little piece on the inside, and then I reattach that after I get it covered in fabric. So that, because that kind of helps hold it into your hair. But I cut off that seam edge just to make it a little bit easier to work with. And once I finished that, that's when I started going ahead and gluing the fabric on the headband. Like I said, this is my least favorite part to do, just because it's just tedious. So I just start at one end and do one side at a time. So you just put hot glue down it and just fold it up. And then after you're done with the one side, you just flip the headband over and do the other side. And then you'll cut off any excess that you have at the end. Which, depending on how you cut it, you can, or you may or may not have excess. I did have some excess, so I went ahead and cut it off. And then did the other side. So now that your headband is done, I'm going to reattach that piece that I took off. And this is super simple to do because all you're doing is just putting it straight down the middle. So you just go a little bit at a time so you don't burn your finger, because as I was doing the headband, covering the headband, I burnt my finger pretty bad on the hot glue. So you do want to be careful. But you may have excess of this black as you put it back on. You can just trim that off. It's just because you added the fabric to the headband. So now I'm using the back of the shirt to cut a square out for the bow. I didn't really measure this. I just kind of cut a piece of fabric and hoped for the best, in all honesty. There's not a specific size or anything that you really need for your bow. It's all a preference thing. Some people like smaller bows. Some people like big giant bows. Me personally, I like the big bows, but I think the smaller bows are easier to work with. So there is my little square of fabric. Now what you're going to do is you're going to kind of fold the edges into the halfway mark and glue them down. So I'm kind of putting them on there to see roughly what it's going to look like, to see if that's what I want. And then I just go ahead and put a little dot of glue in the middle and go ahead and glue it down. And I do both sides. Then you'll kind of flip it long ways and do the same thing. This is more just to kind of hide the raw edges. So I flip that in to kind of see what that's going to look like. And I decided to fold in the raw edges a little bit, just So it's a little bit neater and a little bit smaller when I go to actually make the bow. And I did the same thing on the other side, folded in the edge, and then I glued it to the halfway point. And that gave me about the perfect size bow. So, again, it's a preference thing. You can make big giant bows, or you can make even smaller bows. It's however you want to do it. So, now that I have my bow all cut out, I wanted something kind of different to wrap around the bow. And I decided to cut the collar off of the shirt. But before you glue that on, I kind of put a little bit of glue in the creases just to hold it a little bit. And then I took that piece that I cut off the collar and just wrapped it around the bow and glued it a little bit. I did get off camera here. Not gonna lie, I struggled trying to record making ears. I like to make them close to me. So now you want to get your pieces back out, and you are now actually going to glue the earpieces together. So you figure out which pieces you want on the front and which pieces you want on the back, and you just smother hot glue on each piece, or on one piece, and then you just hold them together so they're all glued together and stuck and won't come apart. Then from there, I actually forgot to show this item. You're going to want something to kind of fill in that space where you can see the hot glue and stuff. So I found this silver cord ribbon that I had for a different pair of ears. And so that's what I decided to use. So all you're going to do is you're going to start on one edge of the ears in that seam, and you're just going to put hot glue around it and put the ribbon just kind of around it. Again, I did kind of get off screen here. It will get better, I promise. So you do that with both ears. Now you just you set it up to see kind of where you want each earpiece. You don't want them to be too close, but you don't want them to be too far away. So I got that piece stuck on there, and you just want to hold it on there for a couple seconds to make sure that the glue dries so it doesn't fall off. I did struggle a little bit with these because since it was a t-shirt that I used, the fabric was really stretchy. So I should have kind of glued the fabric down to the top of the headband as well to prevent it from kind of stretching and moving. I did have to go kind of back in and make a little hole by the ears so that I could do that. Alright guys, that was it. That was how to turn this shirt into these ears. There was a couple changed decisions in there, so but they turned out super cute and I love them. So yeah, super easy, super cheap. The shirt was only $2, so there you go. Have a super magical week. Bye.